Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just want to praise you. I just want to praise you. You broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. And I'm going to praise you. I'm going to praise you. In the corners of my mind, I just can't seem to find a reason to believe that I should break free. Cause you see, I have been down for so long, feel like all hope is gone. But as I lift my hands, I understand that I should praise you through my circumstance. Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just want to praise you. I just want to praise you. You broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. And I'm gonna praise you. I'm gonna praise you.
Everything that could go wrong, oh, went wrong at one time. So much pressure fell on me, I thought I was gonna lose my mind. Now I know you wanna see if I will hold on through these trials. I need you to lift this load, cause I can't take it no more.
Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. You broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. And I'm gonna praise you. I'm gonna praise you. Been through the fire and the rain, bound in every kind of way. God has broken every chain, so let me go right now. Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. You broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. And I'm gonna praise you. I'm gonna praise you. Just us now. Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. You broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. And I'm gonna praise you. I'm gonna praise you. One more time. Take the shackles off my feet so I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you. You broke the chains, now I can lift my hands. And I'm gonna praise you. I'm gonna praise you.
Thank you, Voices of Praise. Thank you, Brigham. Today's lesson, Out of Bondage, will be given by the Reverend Evan Reed. Are you ready?
Yes.
Good morning again. In the Acts of the Apostles, the author Luke gives us a picture of someone living in bondage and didn't know until the light of truth awakened him. I'm talking about Saul of Tarsus, whose Jewish name was Paul. It says in the story that Paul had a particular belief that he lived his life by. And then there was a new belief system that was being implanted in the minds of others. And he took exception to that. It said he got permission from the high priest to persecute all those who were going along with the new thought. It says that one day, as he was going to continue tormenting the people who had a different opinion, he was struck by a light. And a voice said, "Why are you persecuting me?" He was instructed to go to another gentleman by the name of Ananias. And after he had gone into a situation where he was given an insight of the new thought that he was so much against. It says that scales fell from his eyes and chains broke loose. This is a metaphor on your life, my life. That whatever we do with good intentions, believing that we are wrong, although we are going to hell. We persecute others, we condemn others, we destroy other people's lives, believing that we are right. And then one day, we pick up a little book called A Daily Inspiration, or somebody introduces us to a little book called Lessons in Truth. A book where Dr. Emily Cady begins with a question: liberty or bondage, which? When I first picked up that book about 40 odd years ago, it struck me as written to me personally, because I was living in hell and I thought I was in heaven. I had a constant ring of fire around me. I was burning up inside. I was self-destructing, but I believed I was right. I was looking to the outside for help. And the more I looked to the outside for help, is the more I was drawn into hell. When I read that chapter, she describes the children of Israel in Egypt. The wonderful thing about this story is that nobody captured them and took them to Egypt. They went in on their own accord. Wherever we are because we chose to be there. In the beginning, it's good and nice and rosy. And we settle in a comfort zone. And then things change as it changed for the children of Israel, who went in through an invitation from the brother that they had sold into slavery, Joseph. And things were good. He was high up in the hierarchy of Egypt, so they were favored and taken care of. Is this reminiscent of your story? You get an invitation from outside. Something, some situation, some person, that it will make your life better. Because you have a hunger, you have a famine going on inside of you. You have a thirst that needs to be quenched. And you accept the invitation. And things are so good. You're praising God night and day. So much food, so much pleasure, so much fun, so much everything. It's good. But every human being has another side. And I know this has occurred to you sometimes. You invite people to come and stay for vacation. And after the second day, you invite them for a month, but after the second day, you want them to go. And your whole attitude changes. And you become a beast in sheep clothing. You're grinning, but you're not smiling. your nose flaring. Is everything okay? Oh, yes, oh, yes, oh, yes. But you're lying. This is the story of humankind. We accept invitations, we follow through, and after a while, when we settle down, we forget who and what we are, and we start to believe that the people who we are spending time with, they're bad. They throw in words. They're looking at us funny. They're turning up the broom. There was lavish abundance in the fridge. Now just one cut apple. Well, this is the story of the children of Israel going into Egypt, staying too long because they believed that Egypt was the end of the line for them. We do it with relationships. We do it at work. We do it mentally where we are. We believe that we have arrived, not realizing that life is a journey without end, that the beginning of one sail also is the end of another period, and another period, and another period. That once you have a body and you have a mind, you cannot settle. That when you settle, there's a time for suffering. This story is also played out with Lot. Lot, believing that he had taken the best of his nephew Abraham, had settled in the fertile plains of Mesopotamia. And then things changed. The people changed. And God said to him, "Get out now and don't take anything with you. If you look back, you're going to turn into a pillar of salt." Many of us can't get out because we look back. I put so much money in this house, you think I'm going to leave this? I give them the best years of my life. You think I could give up now? I'm going to stay here and suffer to prove to them that nothing they do ain't going to move me. Every moment of the day, we are making decisions to be happy or not to be happy, to live or to die, to be prosperous or to be a pauper. Every decision that we make, we are choosing liberty or bondage. And our lives are lived out of that. When you believe that something outside of you can satisfy you, and you put all your resources, all your energy into it, when you get it, it appears to satisfy. But sooner or later, there's regret. Haven't you been in relationships where you regret? I love, sometimes I'm talking to people how they're going through some terrible things and they're thinking about leaving. And then the first thing I ask you, when you got there, were you in love? Oh, yes, I fell in love. I say, that's your problem. Don't fall into anything you can't get up. Try to lift yourself up and realize that nobody on the outside could fulfill that empty space in you. The more you become free and independent is the more you could become interdependent because you have yourself to share and then you could receive. But when you come with nothing but the lusting for an outer substance to fulfill you, guess what? You get nothing in return. You light up my life. get your own match and light yourself ablaze and let the world see you for who you are. Liberty, bondage. Freedom to be, freedom to expand, freedom to become. Friendship is not a license to stay where you are. Friendship is a license to go beyond the first meeting. If you don't grow in friendship, something ain't right. If you're still looking for someone to fill your emptiness, you will remain empty for the rest of your life. Freedom means I can get up and go anytime to bring about what my heart desires. That's how simple it is. Nobody is locked into a contract. The only thing we have is life, which is supposed to be lived abundantly. The Egyptians thought that we had a good thing. We're not going to let these people go. Have you ever felt that way? Huh? In a situation where you feel the people are thinking about you, that this person will never let me go. Come on. Freedom means the ability to choose to be happy wherever you are, to not become dependent or a slave to anything. You know, the human mind can be very addictive. We can become addicts quickly, and we don't know that some of us are extremely addicted to our clothing, our shoes, our cars, things that we think we cannot do without. We believe that addiction is only dealing with drugs. But anything that controls you, that you can't help but have it, is your boss, is your master. How many masters do you have? Hello? Are you the master of all of you? Or there are some parts you rent out? Some you lease, and some you give total control over you. What it is in your life that if you lose it, you can't live, that is being a slave. Slavery is not being bound in a room or to a chain physically. Slavery is a mental belief that says, I cannot live by myself. I cannot live without. I am stuck if I'm alone. I cannot be happy unless I have people in my life. That's an addiction, as simple as it is. Hello now. You don't have to wake up in the morning to snort it. You don't have to smoke it. All you need is to sell yourself for a piece of silver, because that's what we do. We sell our freedom for a bit of silver. We make promises to people that I'll be there for you. That's a piece of silver. Any promise you make to anything outside, I cannot live without you. This job is the most important thing and I'm not happy in it, but if I stay, I'm better off. You addict, you. That's all it is. Freedom is being able to get up and be yourself in the moment without fear of being separated from anything because your attachment is to God. God is the beginning and the end and the middle of life. So wherever you are one with God, so there can be no loneliness and separation. For wherever I am, all of God is there. So whoever is there is part of the table that God has prepared for me. Even in the presence of adversity, my table is always having something that can make me feel satisfied. Satisfaction, fulfillment, quenching our human thirst is what life is. Life is driving us moment by moment to be free. And in that freedom to appreciate more of life every moment of the day. You are better than you are now than you were yesterday, if you really think about it. Unless you have trapped yourself believing that 40 years ago were the best years of your life. They can't get any better than 40 years ago. You are a slave to 40 years ago, and you're hoping that things repeat itself so that you could go back to that place where you could sit and smoke up and don't worry about anything else. Because that's living out of the past. Some of us are addicted to the past. When is the good old days going to come back? We ask ourselves, ain't coming back. Every day is new and creative. We have to create a new heaven every moment of the day. We have to sit down sometimes and just get creative. Go on the piano and compose. Go in the shower and sing. Go wherever you are, write a note to yourself that is funny and laugh at yourself and laugh with yourself. And create that path of freedom. Freedom will not come by somebody else. It will not come by changing just job. Your state of mind will determine who and what you are. If you believe that you were born free, and you can begin to live free and live without depending on. That's the problem. We depend on other people to solve our problems, not realizing the solution is within you. And you get angry when the person you're depending on isn't there for you. No. When the universe shaped you and formed you, it put itself in you. And you became a living, mental, thinking soul, able to create a path that you could walk freely by yourself, for yourself, realizing that the outcomes of your choices are for you, not for anybody else. We like to blame people when things don't go wrong. I was hoping that you will help me. No. Help cometh from above for me, for you. Don't become dependent on others doing the work so you could sit down in luxury. You know, there's this wonderful advert that I watch sometimes. Two guys sitting down or two guys doing something, and one says, "Do you know where I could find so-and-so?" And he said, "Yeah, I think so." "Well, find it for me." That's what we do in life. We are asking people to find happiness for us, to find abundance for us, to find peace and joy for us, not realizing that every human being has the tools necessary to do it. Life is self-help. It's built on the premises, the more you use life is the more life will use you. The more you give to life is the more life will give to you. So you have to just keep opening up your mind and stop being dependent on and create the freedom. You see, the children of Israel went into Egypt believing that Egypt had the food that they need because there was a famine where they are. A famine represents metaphysically, an empty space. One of the laws of nature is that wherever there's an empty space, a way to fill it will come. But that way to fill it is dependent on the person thinking. If your mind believes that you can't fill it yourself, you would look for somebody else to fill it for you. If you believe that you have the power to do all things through Christ in you, guess what? Your imagination begins to soar all over the place, and you begin to see all ways necessary to help you fill that void. Two states of mind. One based on freedom, one based on bondage. The one based on bondage says, I cannot help myself. The one on freedom believes, I can do all things through Christ in me. Freedom comes when you can take up your own hoe and till the soil. Instead of waiting for Mr. Brown to bring the tractor, you get up, take the fork, and take the hoe, and you go do it yourself. And in the end, when you look back, you see the birds happy because you have tilled the soil. When you wait for Mr. Brown, he has to do everybody else that called him before you. And sometimes that could be 25 years before Mr. Brown shows up. When you learn to do it yourself, something happens. There's a click in your step. You can't sleep past 5 o'clock. You have to get up in the morning because Spirit is saying, let's go. We have a solution. When you don't have a solution, Spirit is saying, stay in bed. It's noontime. Oh, you don't have to get up yet because you have nothing to do. And at the end of the day, you start planning a holiday, having had one for the whole day. When you begin to realize that you are a complete being, you are a complete being with all the ability to be. Think about all the great light bringers. They couldn't hold Jesus back. He told Pilate, you have no power over me. You could destroy this body, but my message would live on past me. You take a Mahatma Gandhi, with all his struggles, he was killed for standing on principle. But guess what? There have been books, lectures, and people's lives have been transformed by his ability to be free. See, when we think about this, we think about freedom, we think about the body. Freedom is in the mind. Who controls the mind? Who controls your thinking and your decision controls you? Who controls the solutions for your desires control you? Mandela, 25 years or how long, locked in a prison. Hey man, he found happiness in the prison. But his mind was not imprisoned. Freedom is a state of mind. Bondage, and some of us don't know how much we are in bondage. Because we can't get up and do anything without outside permission. I can't do it because of the system. I can't do it because of those people. I can't do it because the economy is not right. The Empire State Building was built in the Great Depression. Whatever your mind could conceive, if you believe you are free, you will achieve. whatever you think about, if you believe you can't, it ain't going to happen. Not with you. Somebody else. How many people who have had great ideas and shared it with other people to see other people go ahead and work the ideas and remain bitter to this day, saying that the person stole their ideas? Did somebody steal anything from you? No. And sometimes we don't like to share because we believe that they're going to take it and we're going to end up broke, but they're going to make money. Well, that's a congested mind that believes in failure. You see, once it's in your mind, you can do it. Spirit does not put anything inside of you that you cannot accomplish. The only reason why it's not being accomplished because you are saying, I can't do it. Life is about, I can, I will, I am. It's not about, I shouldn't. Because. But. All these terms we use to kill the Spirit of God in us that prevents us from being free. Freedom 55. I don't know. Go and do whatever you want because you have achieved it, because you have lived it. You have arrived at a point where nobody can tell you no. You can say, take this job and put it where it was before I got here. You're free to be. There's nobody holding you back from being but you. All the congestion on the red stops, you know, all the stoplights that you see in your life, right here. God is a freeway full of green lights. The only stop signs, 4-way stops, and sometimes it's 100-way stops. Because you make up stuff why you can't move, and there are always 100 ways why you can't. There's only one way to do, I'm going to do. But we have so much ways why we cannot do that stops us before we start. So why think at all? Why have a mind? If you have arrived already at a place, say, it can't get any better than here, and I'm stuck. Because. That word because is a funny word. You see, it could be used, I live because Christ lives in me. I can't do because. Same because. You have the choice to use the words that you use based on your state of mind. Freedom, liberty or bondage. Every minute of the day, ask yourself, am I choosing to be free with the thoughts that I think? Or am I choosing to go into bondage or stay in bondage? When you come to realize that you have been gifted with life, and life means the ability to move. So anytime you are not moving, guess what? You're not alive. People believe that our role is to dress up this body and look nice. That other people could see us and say to us, you look nice. And when they don't say it, guess what? We tell them, you didn't tell me anything. Didn't you see the new stuff? Start doing something for yourself. Regardless of what they think about you, nobody can put me down unless my mind is already down. Nobody can change my mind unless I give them power to do that. So I'm now taking back the power that the outer had over me. And I'm claiming power for myself. I can do all things. Say with me, I can do all things. For God in me wants to do. And I want to do. God is a red light to those who don't want to do. But God, because they can justify it. A lot of people justify why they can't. Because God didn't give me the this and the that, and I'm waiting for God. That's a God as a stoplight. But God is that infinite freeway that has no stop signs, only a green all the way. You ever traveling in a city like Toronto, and you're getting green all the way? Yeah, that's God. And have you ever traveled where you're getting red, even when it didn't have no red stop? You getting red? That's a state of mind. Ain't have no stoplight that telling you to stop in God. God is life. As Jesus said, I came that you can live abundantly. To have life and to live it abundantly. Free yourself up from those thoughts that says, I can't. No, change your mind. That's all it takes. And stop being dependent on others to do things for you so you could do the things that you want to do. And you're waiting and waiting and waiting. Man at the pool, 38 years, waiting for the right time and the right person to come. The right person has to be you if any movement could take place in your life. Get up, man, and start to live. Don't be down and don't be frustrated with life. Start to live it because you have come to live life and you come to be an abundant liver, to live so prosperously, to live so richly, to live so happily that nothing can contain your spirit. At this time of the year, before the birds get up, in fact, you tell the birds when to sing. You tell your pets when to wake up. Because you wake up before them, because you are excited about life, not waiting on anything to move you. Inertia says what? Nothing stops unless something stops it. Nothing moves until something moves it. Let that thought of yourself move you, and nothing on the outside allow it to stop you. God bless you.
God alone. He who was and is to come. I will sing before God's throne forever, forever. All the angels sing and they bow down and they say, holy, yes, they say, holy. We are sons and daughters, we praise you now, and we say, holy, yes, we say, holy. I will praise the love of God who sits upon your throne, and I will worship God and give the praise to God alone. He who was and is to come, I will sing before the light.